The true value of my life is in the life of other people who I contributed to. Hi, my name is Michael. I'm the founder of Balance Core Physiotherapy Centre. 25 years ago, I was still in China, and I was just getting into medical university when I heard the option of coming to Singapore through a government scholarship from Singapore government. And I was very excited to come to Singapore because it's a different lifestyle and I would love to explore the world. And I knew nothing about physiotherapy profession, but I knew it's something in line with doctor's practice. So I just came by and see what physiotherapy is about. Physiotherapy is not the course that originally was thinking, because my parents and I, when I was deciding our life path, was thinking of being a doctor. But since physiotherapy course was available to me, I took on the chance to come abroad. I never regretted my choice, because although physiotherapists is different from doctors, I see more value in the way I see my patients. Instead of giving people medicines to eat or doing surgeries for them, I have many little ways that they can improve their lives immediately. I found out that through physiotherapy, many people who have a sustainable improvement of quality of life, instead of just depending on medicine or hoping for some surgery miracles. When I was not sure of what physiotherapy is about, my mentors back then who are practicing in the hospitals really inspired me, because they managed to help someone who was originally bedridden to be able to walk, to be able to get to toilet, to be able to go back to the life and at work. And I found that this is actually very meaningful, because just because the surgery is done does not mean that you are free of the disease or free of the sickness. There's a lot of missing gaps before you become independent, and physiotherapists fill up the gap for you, with you. This is the value of our work. My initial part of the career started in public hospitals. I was in the hospital for about 13 years before I became a private physiotherapist. I could help my patients, but I also saw the limitation of myself being a busy physiotherapist in the hospitals. I don't have enough time with individual patient. Therefore, I couldn't do the best for every individual patient. And therefore, I wanted to set up a private practice so that I can have a lot of one-to-one time with individuals and help them truly get rid of a problem for good. When I was in the hospital, I could help people with established injuries very easily, and they can have a steady growth over time. But with people who have chronic discomfort, their problem may not be so obvious on the surface. And so there was a lot of time needed in order to discover the real problem behind the complaints. And it was not possible in the hospital setup for me to understand the person deeply enough. Therefore, I saw the frustration in the eyes of my patient, and I saw the frustration in my mind as well. And I feel that this is something that I really wanted to do but couldn't because of lack of time. There was one patient who came in with pain that lasted more than a year, from a simple ankle injury to ended up developing into whole body ache. I was spending quite a lot of time discovering what is the real issue behind, and then after working through changing the person's mechanics and habits, really the improvement happened, and that spurs me to understand more about why is the body having these chronic injuries, and that leads to more questions in my mind actually, and therefore I took on further studies. Gave me more knowledge, but on the other hand, I also didn't feel I have all the answers. Every patient that I've seen actually teach me new things as well. What gave me the greatest satisfaction is in the smiles of patients I've seen who actually were suffering from 5 to 10 years of discomfort and who has been knocking on doors and seeking various different treatments without understanding what is really going on in the body. By finding out the root issue and putting those pieces into a full picture, the quality of life that the patient can finally enjoy is something that they couldn't even, they thought that it's actually impossible in the past. So that gave me greatest satisfaction and also inspired me to continue to do the same for other people. As someone who came from China, I had a good understanding of traditional Chinese medicine's way of seeing patients. And being in Singapore and study with my postgraduate in Australia allows me to have a good understanding of the Western style of seeing patients as well. I saw the advantages as well as limitations in both practices. In order to deliver the best for my patients, I took the best practice of both the Eastern as well as the Western practices, and I conceptualized the approach called Integrative Balance Approach. By paying attention to the details of individual body parts, as well as seeing an overall integration of the body's different systems, allows me to identify the root problem behind all the people's complaints and finally help them to understand their own problems and also finding out the best help or the most important help they needed in order to make a difference in their own body mechanics. This allowed patients who have suffered for many years to finally get out of the vicious cycle and have a breakthrough in their lifestyle. I'd like to say to people who have been suffering for years, don't just endure and don't just give up in your health. A lot of times there's always a reason behind what you're suffering. Let's work together to find out the root issues and change about the habits so that we can make a significant difference for our life.